Positive Spin. Presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world.
I got up on the stage and I said, if you're hungry, I said, you can come over to the hog farm and we'll feed you over there. So I got up and said that, but nobody ever filmed it.
On today's program, we'll interview renowned 1960s photographer Lisa Law about the central role she played in the Woodstock Festival in 1969.
For having fed 200,000 people. I mean, some people get recognized.
Damn, it's good to be back home again. Corn can make a difference in Texas. What the hell they need with one more liberal in Berkeley, California, for God's sake.
And we'll talk with the producer for the new film, Raise Hell, The Life and Times of Molly Ivins.
Her column and not running it.
You bet there's censorship anytime you do it. We had to take pictures of all the Palestinians.
Then we'll learn about Hotel Everest, a safe space where Palestinians and Israelis gather together to collaborate for peace.
I could feel my mind was telling me.
I know now what's the purpose of my life.
After that, we'll see an Amnesty International film highlighting a Filipino girl's activism for climate action.
Climate strike here in Tacloban. Next week,
I'm one of the lucky ones. People are.
Then we'll learn about the Our Future Climate Campaign, mobilizing young and old voters to support political representatives who vote climate.
Whisper softly and sway with ease.
Finally, we'll hear a song from singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Matt Venutti. The legendary Woodstock Festival in 1969 was the most important event of the decade. Lisa Law, the renowned photographer, writer, and filmmaker, played a central role in the festival. In the following interview, we'll learn about Lisa's history as a photographer of the 1960s and how she organized the feeding of hundreds of thousands of people attending the Woodstock Festival.
Me gusta?
Lisa Law is an accomplished photographer, writer, filmmaker, and icon of the 1960s. She is best known for her photographic chronicles of the counterculture of that time. Positive Spin was invited to Lisa Law's home in Santa Fe, New Mexico for an intimate interview concerning the key roles she played in the Woodstock Festival. So, could you please tell our audience a little bit about the hog farm, how it was created, what was the purpose of the hog farm?
Well, in 1964, I think it was, Hugh Romney and Bonnie Jean were living in the Valley in LA. And they were renting this house, and the Ken Kesey bus came by, and they were on their way to Mexico to find Ken Kesey. Just at that point, the fellow up the hill who had a hog farm had a heart attack, and he needed help slopping the hogs. So the entire group of them moved up to the top of the hill where all the hogs were, built little shacks and lived in buses and lived there. Saturday, I think they would have an event. One was Tiny Tim singing, and then they had a hog rodeo where you painted the pigs and the rodem in the rodeo. So they did that, and all these people would come up. They did these shows. But that's when Stan Goldstein asked the whole hog farm if they would come to this musical concert in New York and help out with security. Well, not security at that point, it was trip tents, medical tents. We said yes. They sent a jumbo jet for us. 95 of us got aboard that airplane, including teepee poles and teepees, flew to JFK, where we were met by the press saying, we hear you're security, and Wavy Gravy said, they made us the cops. Okay, well, do you feel secure? They said yes, and they says, well, it must be working. bought stainless steel bowls, pots, cleavers, onion cutters, 35 trash bag cans, plastic trash cans to mix the food in and to put the cut up food in, because you have to think of being a mass production. It wasn't just a barbecue dinner, it was a mass production. And we were feeding 75,000 a day. I got up on the stage and I said, if you're hungry, I said, you can come over to the hog farm and we'll feed you over there. So I got up and said that, but nobody ever filmed it. And they did, they trickled over us. But soon after that, those lines there were 10 lines, people waiting in lines for the food. But it was great to be recognized for having fed 200,000 people. I mean, some people get recognized for a picture or movie or acting or whatever, right, something they did. But this was being recognized for cooking food, which I thought was fantastic. This is Joe Baez backstage at Woodstock. So that's where we held court and fed everybody and prepared the food and hung out. And then we'd go over to the main stage. This was more fun for a lot of people. This is the bus we've had since 1967. Bus from that era. And this is actually a 1946 Chevy flatbed that was made into a mobile home, one of the first mobile homes. And an artist did it in Taos, and then he drove around the country for 4 years with his 2 kids and his wife painting. And they said $150, and he said, here you go, and he paid for it, and we had a home.
I'll bet, yeah.
It's got a kitchen in it, it's got oven, icebox, counters, beds, couches. It's fantastic.
You have been a major chronicler since of just the whole, I mean, from Bob Dylan to to the Haight-Ashbury, to the first human being, to Woodstock.
64, 65.
You know, and
Beatles.
That's amazing. How did that happen for you? I mean, what was the spark that got you to do that?
My father was a 16 millimeter man. He gave me a brownie and I started documenting my life. And I was taking photography at College of Marin and San Francisco City College. I took 2 courses. But I was already really good at capturing moments. I was not afraid. Just get in there with that camera and shoot it. I'm still not afraid. So my heroes are Bob Dylan, because I was able to get a career from having those great pictures of him, and John Paul DeGioia. So important about Woodstock is that you put all those people together, 400, 500,000, plus I think there's probably 2 million that were on their way. Nobody fought, nobody hurt each other, nobody raped, he got into fights. And Joan Baez said, this is your neighbor to your left and your neighbor to your right. And so that became the Woodstock generation. And that's what we wish the world could be like. It's just wonderful. It's very exciting, because that was a great moment in history.
Molly Ivins, the brilliant and irreverent journalist who effectively took on corruption in the political arena through humor and intellect, is the subject of a new documentary entitled Raise Hell, The Life and Times of Molly Ivins. Positive Spin recently covered the premiere of the film and interviewed the producer.
To cheer y'all up about the state of politics in this great nation. I know you think that it is looking dark and gloomy. Cheer up, it could always be worse. You could be living in Texas.
I bring to you our own Molly Ivins.
Molly Ivins appeared in papers all over the country.
How many legendary print journalists are there?
I'm a Texan. I drive a pickup truck. I drink beer. I hunt. I'm a liberal. So what?
Molly came in like a house afire, making riotous fun of the legislature.
Representative so-and-so, here's the IQ of an adolescent pissant. I see him in the Capitol the next day, and they say, baby, you put my name in your paper.
I accidentally became an authority on George W. Bush. Like the guy who climbed Everest, it was there.
The people who Molly took apart were the right people to aim at, and they knew it.
What's your take on the draft-dodging, dope-smoking, deadbeat dad who divorced his dying wife?
Molly could be very rough on progressives.
In my opinion, the Democratic leadership is gutless to an extraordinary extent. I had been asked to join the New York Times.
They wanted Molly for the unique voice, the iconoclast, but they wanted her to fit into the times. As we say in Texas, that dog don't hunt.
Damn, it's good to be back home again. One can make a difference in Texas. What the hell they need with one more liberal in Berkeley, California, for God's sake. Texas has always been the national laboratory for bad government.
Major daily publications were buying her column and not running it.
You bet there's censorship. Anytime you do the kind of work Molly did, there's a price to pay for it.
Molly got death threats, threatening letters.
I think of you as a hateful, lying left liberal.
We keep pretending that the political spectrum runs from right to left. It doesn't. It runs from top to bottom. It's not those people in Washington. It's not those people in your state capital. This country is run by us.
Somebody has got to look them in the eye and speak truth. And she did.
So that was an amazing film.
Thank you.
What I'd like to know is, what inspired you to make this film?
My friend is Allison Engel, and she and her sister wrote the play on Molly Ivins, and I had to go because she went to see my film, so I had to go see her play, and I'd never heard of Molly Ivins, and I literally cried and laughed, and I was so inspired by Molly, and I said, if I don't know about Molly, how many people are out there like this? And so I decided I'm going to make a documentary, and so we took off and put everything on our credit card, and Janice and Carlisle went out to Texas, and we started interviewing people, and that's how it happened. That was 7 years ago.
And it's mostly women.
Mostly women, yeah. I have an amazing crew of women, Janice and Carlisle, of course, but we have Monique Savatoski, who's this brilliant editor, and then we had Monique and Janice write it, and then we have our archivist with Amber Howell and Gerald, and our camera woman, Christy Tully, and so it's also I think Molly would be impressed that we have these extraordinary women making the story about an extraordinary woman. I think it's only appropriate, and I guess I'm an honorary person here.
So, what do you feel the relevance of the film and Molly is to present day? Because so much of what she said was really prophetic.
Right. I think Molly is really important today. I think more, I don't say more important than when she was alive, but because of the polarity of politics and the inability to tell the truth, let's put it that way, when she was so powerful at telling the truth, but she said it in a funny way, and I think that's something we could really benefit from right now, because she just didn't, make fun of the right or the left. She made fun of corrupt people. She made fun of people who were screwing the people. And that's what we need right now. Someone who can make fun of them in a way that makes us laugh, but also see the truth and the horror of the situation that we're in right now. And I know Molly is Twitter ready. My favorite line about Molly, which could be very applied today, is that if you put his brain into a bumblebee, he would fly backwards. And I can think of a lot of politicians nowadays that would apply to. So I think that's where she's relevant, And I think that when she said, who are we going to blame for all this? And then she made that big statement in the film, illegal aliens, she talks about, when we blame so many people or so many of things outside of ourselves for what's going on in America and why things are going wrong, and then decide to make us less free, we're basically less free. And I think that's what's going on right now. Our civil rights are being attacked. Our ability to speak up is being attacked. And all those who do speak up are made to feel like they're less patriot than those who take in all the lies that we're being fed right now. So I think Molly could have cut through all the lies and help us all cut through those lies, but in a funny way, right? We gotta laugh about it.
Absolutely.
For all you people who would like a good laugh and really want to have a good time and also Molly Ivins would say, the greatest form of free entertainment is politics, and I think we could really use Molly's voice now to help us to see the entertainment about politics. This film is playing in 88 theaters across the country, where our profits go to the ACLU and to the Texas Observer, and if you get out there and you see this film, you're going to have some fun, I promise you. So raise hell.
Damn, it's good to be back home again.
For the past 10 years, the Center for Emerging Futures has sponsored gatherings among Palestinians and Israelis at the Everest Hotel, a safe haven in the West Bank. However, when conflict erupted between Israel and Gaza, the dangers of connecting grew worse, even as the need grew stronger.
Ten years ago, I had a deep and strong voice inside myself. It was saying something very simple. You need to meet a Palestinian. It was a dramatic change in my life. I was 45 and started meeting Palestinians.
I was born in the Haitian refugee camp near Bethlehem. We call ourselves the children of the camp. It shaped us for the people who we are now. I always believe that we Palestinians and Israelis have the same fate. We have to live together.
They said, if you want to come over and somehow do some giant intervention that's going to fix the problem, that would probably be a waste of your time. But if you want to help a few people, a few families, a few villages, the opportunities are endless.
We were having storytelling sessions at the Everest Hotel. It was 10 days before my son was supposed to go to the army. I knew I had to talk about that. Somehow it's going to come out. Then it was my turn and I started crying.
I would like to invite you each to share one word about the feeling he has and see the faces of the people who are in this circle right now. After doing this work together for several years, we sincerely share the same vision, the same aim, and I feel that strongly in him. I trust him. I trust him for my life.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Hamas is accused of firing its rockets indiscriminately into Israel.
Overnight, Israeli forces fired flares into the skies above Gaza as they pummeled the strip with artillery.
I was trying to avoid leaving home that period because for me and my family also we felt a little bit unsafe with searches of army at night, arresting people. Suddenly it became very dangerous to meet and connect with each other while the need is getting bigger and bigger.
We had to take pictures of all the Palestinians in one of our projects off the internet. It put them at risk.
I could feel my mind was telling me and my heart that these things happen and we must go on, but somehow my body, the shield was cracked. It was very difficult.
Let me ask you, my friend, this question: what's the alternative?
Marinelle Obondo's life was turned upside down when a super typhoon ravaged her home in the Philippines. She's now campaigning for her government and governments around the world to start facing up to the true impacts of climate change.
Typhoon Haiyan was the strongest typhoon ever recorded in the Philippines. We didn't expect that it would be that monstrous, and we lost everything. But I know now what's the purpose of my life. I will fight whatever happens for the future. We have just concluded the climate strike here in Tacloban. Next week, they will have the first hearing to make Tacloban plastic-free and declare climate emergency in Tacloban. Climate change is now a human rights issue because the basic rights of people are being deprived, like the right to eat, the right to survive, the right to education. I have this fire in me to do something, to continue what I am doing. You should never underestimate your power to make a change because that is where it starts to a bigger movement.
Our Future Climate is a campaign designed to encourage young and old to come together to face the climate crisis. Up next is a promotional video for the Our Future Climate campaign.
I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
We now feature a music video by singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist Matt Venutti.
Open your heart. It's big like the sky to guide you home. Everything will be alright. There's no limitation, no worries or age. Time is forgotten. You're free from the cage. Open your heart to the sky and rise, rise to the mystery. Rise, rise, you're free, you're free. Rise, rise, rise. Love will carry you home. Rise like a bird that catches a breeze. Sing inspired melodies. Dance like the wind that touches the trees. whisper softly and sway with ease. Open your heart to the sky. Rise, rise to the mystery. Rise, rise, you're free, you're free. Rise, oh rise. Love, oh love, will carry you home. Love, oh love, will carry you home.
Thank you for watching Positive Spin. This show is made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Wright Foundation. Watch us on Free Speech TV, DirecTV, Dish Network, Sling, Roku, and Apple TV. Watch and subscribe on our previous episodes on YouTube, and please like us on Facebook. I'm Bill McCarthy. Now it's your turn. Inspire, empower, go out and make some positive news.
I'm Irene Navarro, and I just do all this to continue with our culture and an appreciation of the greatest of all. Thank you.
When yesterday became today, and I was tired of thinking, or maybe I was dreaming away, deeper into slumber sinking. I didn't even try, and still I came on through to another day of loving you.